In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, humanity found itself at the bottom of the galactic pecking order. The year was 2157, and Earth had just joined the Galactic Union, a coalition of advanced alien species that govern most of the known universe. Humans, with their fledgling space program and limited understanding of cosmic technologies, were seen as nothing more than primitive newcomers. The Galactic Union's headquarters on the planet Xeno 7 buzzed with activity. Delegates from 100 different species gathered in the Grand Assembly Hall, their unique forms and colors creating a living tapestry of alien life. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Sarah Chen, Earth's first representative to the Union. Sarah's heart raced as she approached the podium. The eyes of countless alien beings focused on her, some curious, others dismissive. She cleared her throat and began her speech, her voice echoing through the cavernous chamber. Esteemed members of the Galactic Union, I stand before you today to. A loud, rumbling laugh interrupted her. It came from Gronks, the imposing delegate of the Varaxian Empire, a warrior race known for their strength and battle prowess. Look at this tiny human, Gronks bellowed, his 4 eyes narrowing in amusement. She speaks of joining us as equals, yet her species can barely leave their own solar system. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Sarah felt her face flush with embarrassment, but she stood her ground. We may be new to interstellar travel, she countered, but humans have a long history of overcoming challenges. We ask for a chance to prove ourselves. This time, it was Zulax, the serpentine representative of the Slick Confederation, who spoke up. His forked tongue flicked out as he hissed, "Prove yourselves. Your kind ran from the Zorgan incursion faster than a Blixian comet. You're nothing but cowards hiding behind your stronger allies." The assembly erupted in laughter. Sarah's hands gripped the podium tightly, her knuckles turning white. The Zorgan incursion had been humanity's first encounter with hostile aliens, just months after joining the Union. Earth's military, unprepared for such advanced weaponry, had indeed retreated. It was a sore point for all humans. As the laughter died down, a new voice cut through the noise. It belonged to Xantol, an ancient being from a race of energy creatures known as the Lumini. Perhaps Xantol's melodious voice resonated. We are too quick to judge. After all, did not many of our own species struggle when they first reached the stars? A hush fell over the room. Xantol's words carried weight, given the Luminae's status as one of the oldest and wisest races in the Union. Sarah seized the moment. Thank you, honored Xantol. Indeed, humanity may be young in the cosmic scale, but we have potential. Our history is filled with tales of ordinary people rising to extraordinary challenges. Given time and opportunity, we can contribute greatly to this union. The mood in the chamber shifted slightly. Some delegates nodded thoughtfully, while others still looked skeptical. Gronks, however, was not finished. Fine words, he growled, but words alone do not make warriors. If humans wish to be taken seriously, they must prove their worth through action, not empty promises. As if on cue, a commotion erupted at the back of the hall. A young Paxian, their tentacles waving in agitation, burst through the doors. Urgent news, the Paxian gasped. The Void Horde has breached the Outer Rim defenses. They're advancing on populated systems. The assembly exploded into chaos. The Void Horde, a mysterious and terrifying force from beyond known space, had long been the stuff of nightmares. Now, it seemed, those nightmares were becoming reality. As panic spread through the room, Sarah stood still, her mind racing. She knew this could be humanity's chance, a baptism by fire that could change their standing in the galaxy forever. With a deep breath, she raised her voice above the din. Members of the Galactic Union, Earth may not have the most advanced technology or the strongest warriors, but we have something just as valuable: adaptability and determination. Let us join your forces against this threat. Give us a chance to prove that humans are not cowards, but allies worth having. All eyes turned to Sarah, a mix of surprise and curiosity on alien faces. In that moment, the fate of humanity's place in the galaxy hung in the balance. The age of human cowardice was ending. The era of human heroes was about to begin. The Galactic Union's Grand Assembly Hall, once filled with laughter and mockery aimed at humans, now buzzed with nervous energy. The news of the Void Horde's advance had changed everything. Ambassador Sarah Chen's offer to join the fight hung in the air, met with a mix of disbelief and desperate hope. Gronks, the Viraxian delegate, was the first to break the tense silence. "You? Fight the Void Horde?" He scoffed, but there was a hint of uncertainty in his voice. "Your primitive weapons would be useless against them." Before Sarah could respond, Santol, the wise Lumini, spoke up. "Perhaps not," the energy being pulsed with a soft glow. "The Void Horde has defeated our most advanced defenses. We need new tactics, new perspectives. The humans' unique approach might be exactly what we need." Murmurs of agreement spread through the crowd. Even Zulax, the skeptical, slick representative, seemed to be reconsidering his stance. Sarah seized the moment. "Give us a chance to prove ourselves. We may surprise you." After a heated debate, the Union leaders made their decision. Humans would be allowed to join the fight against the Void Horde, but they would be given the most dangerous and least desirable missions. It was a test of their resolve, and many in the Union expected them to fail. Back on Earth, the news of humanity's new role spread like wildfire. Military bases buzzed with activity, and scientific labs worked around the clock. The whole planet united in a way it never had before, driven by a mix of fear and determination. In a secret facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's leading genotechnologist, worked tirelessly. Her team had been studying alien technology provided by the Union, and now they had a breakthrough. "We've done it," Elena exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. "We've found a way to modify our existing weapons to be effective against the Void Horde's energy shields." General Michael Jong, the grizzled leader of Earth's new Space Defense Force, looked at the schematics with a mixture of hope and skepticism. "Are you sure this will work, Doctor?" Elena nodded confidently. "Our tests are promising. The Void Horde won't expect this. We're combining Union tech with old-school human ingenuity." As Earth prepared for war, the first human ships joined the Union fleet at the Outer Rim. Captain Aisha Kazemi stood on the bridge of the HFY Horizon, Earth's most advanced battlecruiser. Though it was small compared to the massive alien ships around it, the Horizon bristled with newly modified weapons. Aisha's comm crackled to life. It was Gronks, now commanding the Union's defense fleet. "Human," he growled, "your ship will lead the attack on the Void Horde's forward scouts. It's a suicide mission, but it's the best way for you to prove your worth." Aisha's jaw tightened, but her voice remained steady. "Understood, Commander. We're ready." As the Horizon moved into position, Aisha addressed her crew. "This is our moment," she said, her voice firm. "Earth is watching. The galaxy is watching. Let's show them what humans can do." The ship accelerated towards the looming darkness ahead. Strange, otherworldly shapes began to appear on their sensors. The advanced scouts of the Void Horde. "Weapons hot," Aisha commanded. "Remember your training. We may be new to space combat, but we're not new to being underdogs. Let's make history." The Horizon's newly modified weapons flared to life, sending pulses of energy towards the approaching enemy. To everyone's surprise, the shots penetrated the Void Horde's supposedly impenetrable shields. Cheers erupted on the bridge as the first enemy ship exploded. Aisha allowed herself a small smile. "Good work, people. But this is just the beginning. Let's clear a path for the main fleet." As the battle raged on, news of the humans' unexpected success spread through the Union forces. Gronks watched in disbelief as the tiny human ship tore through the Void Horde's defenses. Back in the assembly hall on Xeno 7, the alien delegates gathered around holographic displays, watching the battle unfold. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood among them, her heart racing as she saw her people fighting bravely against impossible odds. Zilak slithered up beside her. "It seems," he hissed softly, "that we may have underestimated your kind, human." Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the display. "This is just the beginning," she said. "Humanity is ready to take its place in the galaxy." As the reports of human bravery and ingenuity flooded in from the front lines, the mood in the assembly hall changed. The word coward was no longer whispered when humans were mentioned. Instead, a new sentiment began to spread: respect. The battle was far from over, but in this moment, humanity had taken its first step towards becoming the heroes of the galaxy. The initial success of the HFY Horizon against the Void Horde scouts had sent shockwaves through the Galactic Union. What started as a suicide mission had turned into a pivotal moment in the war. However, the real challenge was just beginning. Captain Aisha Kazemi stood on the bridge of the Horizon, her uniform singed and her face smeared with soot. The ship had taken a beating, but it was still operational. "Status report," she called out, her voice hoarse from shouting orders. "Shields at 30%, Captain," her first officer replied. "Weapons systems still online, but we're running low on power." Aisha nodded grimly. They had destroyed several Void Horde ships, but more kept coming. The main Union fleet was still en route, leaving the Horizon and a handful of other ships to hold the line. Suddenly, a massive shape emerged from the darkness of space. It dwarfed even the largest Union ships, its surface a writhing mass of tentacles and pulsing energy. "By the stars," someone whispered, "it's the Void Horde mothership." Back on Earth, tension filled the air in the underground command center. General John watched the holographic display with growing concern. "We need to buy more time for the main fleet to arrive," he muttered. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, who had been working nonstop since the battle began, rushed into the room. "General, I have an idea," she said, her eyes bright with excitement despite her exhaustion. "If we can get close enough to the mothership, we might be able to use its own energy against it." Zhang raised an eyebrow. "Explain." Elena quickly outlined her plan. It was risky, bordering on insane, but it just might work. Zhang nodded and opened a secure channel to the Horizon. In the assembly hall on Xeno 7, the alien delegates watched the unfolding battle with a mixture of fear and awe. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the forefront, her fists clenched as she watched her people fight for the galaxy's survival. Gronks approached her, his usual arrogance replaced by grudging respect. "Your people fight well, human," he rumbled. "But this might be too much even for them." Sarah met his gaze steadily. "Never underestimate humanity when our backs are against the wall, Gronks. We're at our best when things seem hopeless." On the Horizon, Aisha received the transmission from Earth. Her eyes widened as she listened to the plan. "It's crazy," she said finally, "but it's the only chance we've got." She turned to her crew. "Listen up, people. We're going in close. Closer than any ship has ever gone to a Void Horde vessel. It's going to be rough, but if we succeed, we might just save the galaxy. Who's with me?" The crew's response was unanimous. Despite the fear in their eyes, there was also determination and pride. The Horizon accelerated towards the massive mothership, dodging energy blasts and smaller enemy vessels. Aisha's hands gripped the controls tightly as she maneuvered the ship through the chaos. "Now, Dr. Rodriguez," Aisha shouted as they came within range. Back on Earth, Elena activated the device she had been working on. It sent out a pulse that interfaced with the Horizon's modified weapons systems. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The energy weapons of the Horizon suddenly flared with incredible power, drawing strength from the mothership itself. Beams of blinding light lanced out, cutting through the Void Horde's defenses like they were paper. The mothership shuddered, its surface rippling as if in pain. Smaller ships began to fall away, their connection to the central intelligence disrupted. In the assembly hall, the alien delegates watched in stunned silence. Then, as realization dawned, a cheer went up that shook the very foundations of the building. "They did it," Zilax hissed in amazement. The humans actually did it. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Never doubt the human spirit," she said softly. As the main Union fleet arrived to mop up the remaining Void Horde forces, news of the human victory spread across the galaxy. The species that had once been mocked as cowards were now being hailed as heroes. On the battered bridge of the horizon, Aisha looked out at the retreating enemy ships. "We've won this battle," she said to her weary but jubilant crew. "But the war isn't over yet." She was right. The Void Horde had been dealt a significant blow, but this was just the beginning. However, for the first time since the invasion began, the galaxy dared to hope. And at the center of that hope stood humanity, no longer the cowards of the cosmos, but its unexpected champions. The victory against the Void Horde mothership had changed everything. Humanity, once dismissed as cowards, now found itself at the center of galactic attention. But with great achievement came great responsibility, and the challenges were far from over. In the weeks following the battle, the Galactic Union buzzed with activity. On Xeno 7, Ambassador Sarah Chen found herself in high demand, attending countless meetings and briefings. The alien delegates who had once mocked her now sought her counsel. During one such meeting, Gronks, the Viraxian warrior, approached Sarah. "Human," he said, his voice gruff but respectful, "your people have proven themselves in battle. But now we face a different challenge. The Void Horde is regrouping, and we need a plan." Sarah nodded, her face serious. "We're ready to do our part, Gronks. What do you propose?" Before Gronks could answer, alarms blared throughout the building. Santul, the Lumini Elder, glided into the room, its energy form pulsing with urgency. "We've detected a massive Void Horde fleet assembling at the edge of known space," Santul announced. "They're preparing for a full-scale invasion." The room erupted in chaos. Delegates argued and shouted, fear evident in their voices. Sarah stood still, her mind racing. She knew that humanity's next actions would be crucial. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the global mood was a mix of pride and anxiety. Humanity had tasted victory, but the war was far from won. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Elena Rodriguez worked tirelessly on new technologies. General Zhang entered her lab, his face grim. "Doctor, we've received word from the Union. The Void Horde is planning something big. We need every advantage we can get." Elena looked up from her work, her eyes bloodshot from lack of sleep. "I think I might have something, General. But it's risky, and it involves technology we barely understand." She led Zhang to a sealed room. Inside was a pulsing orb of energy, unlike anything he had ever seen. "What is it?" he asked, his voice hushed. "I call it the Nexus," Elena explained. "It's a fusion of human ingenuity and alien tech. If it works, it could create a network linking all our ships, enhancing their capabilities exponentially." Zhang stared at the Nexus, hope and concern warring on his face. "And if it doesn't work?" Elena's voice was quiet but firm. "Then we might lose everything." On the front lines, Captain Aisha Kazemi and the crew of the Horizon were on high alert. They had been patrolling the border of Union space, watching for any sign of the enemy. Aisha stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the star-filled viewport. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Ravi Patel, approached with a datapad. "Captain, we're picking up strange readings," Ravi reported. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Aisha studied the readings, her brow furrowed. "Contact Union Command. We need to investigate this." As the Horizon changed course, none of the crew realized they were about to make a discovery that would change the course of the war. Hours later, the ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near an uncharted system. What they saw left them speechless. A massive structure floated in space, its architecture clearly alien but unlike anything in Union records. "Is that Void Horde technology?" Ravi asked, his voice filled with awe and fear. Before Aisha could respond, a transmission crackled through their comms. The language was unlike any they had heard before, but their translation software quickly adapted. "Greetings, humans," a voice said. "We are the exiles, former members of what you call the Void Horde. We seek asylum and offer our knowledge in exchange for protection." Aisha's mind raced. This could be a trap, or it could be the key to winning the war. She opened a channel to Union Command, knowing that her next decision could determine the fate of the galaxy. Back on Xeno 7, Sarah received the urgent transmission. As she listened to Captain Kazemi's report, she realized that humanity was once again at a crossroads. The choice they made now would either doom the galaxy or save it. She looked around the room at the alien faces, all turned to her expectantly. The humans, once called cowards, were now being looked to for leadership in this crucial moment. Sarah took a deep breath and stepped forward. It was time for humanity to shape the destiny of the stars. The discovery of the Void Horde exiles had thrown the entire Galactic Union into turmoil. On Xeno 7, the assembly hall was filled with heated debates and shouting matches. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Sarah Chen, her face a mask of calm determination. "We cannot trust these exiles," Gronks bellowed, his massive fists slamming onto the podium. "It's clearly a trap." Zulax, the Silic representative, hissed in agreement. "For once, I agree with the Varaxian. We should destroy them before they can betray us." Sarah raised her hand, silencing the room. "I understand your concerns," she said, her voice steady. "But we cannot ignore this opportunity. If the exiles are genuine, their knowledge could be the key to ending this war." San Tol, the wise Lumini, pulsed with a soft glow. "The human speaks wisdom. We must investigate this chance, however risky it may be." After hours of debate, a decision was reached. A delegation would be sent to meet the exiles, led by none other than Captain Aisha Kazemi of the EFS Horizon. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Elena Rodriguez was putting the finishing touches on the Nexus device. General John watched nervously as she calibrated the pulsing orb of energy. "Are you sure about this, Doctor?" Zhang asked, his voice tight with concern. Elena looked up, her eyes filled with a mix of excitement and fear. "No, General, I'm not sure. But we're out of options. The Nexus is our best chance at coordinating our forces against the Void Horde." Zhang nodded grimly. "Very well. Prepare it for deployment to Captain Kazemi's ship." In the depths of space, the EF's Horizon approached the massive alien structure where the exiles waited. Captain Kazemi stood on the bridge, her posture tense but ready. "All systems on alert," she commanded. "Be ready for anything." As they drew closer, a hangar bay opened in the side of the structure. Aisha took a deep breath and gave the order to dock. The landing party, led by Aisha and including a team of scientists and security personnel, stepped into the alien structure. They were met by a group of beings that looked like a twisted mirror of the Void Horde they had fought. Where the Horde was all darkness and sharp edges, these exiles seemed softer, with bioluminescent patterns flickering across their bodies. One of the exiles stepped forward. "I am Zix," it said, its voice a strange melody. "We welcome you, humans and allies. We have much to discuss." Over the next few hours, Zix explained their situation. The exiles were a faction that had broken away from the Void Horde, disagreeing with their destructive path. They offered crucial information about the Horde's weaknesses and strategies. As Aisha listened, she felt a mix of hope and suspicion. Could this really be the break they needed? Back on the horizon, a transmission came through from Earth. The Nexus device had arrived and was ready for installation. Aisha made a decision. "We'll bring the exiles back to Xeno 7, she told her crew. "And we'll test this Nexus device on the way. It's time we took some risks." The journey back was tense. The exiles were kept under close watch, while Dr. Rodriguez's team worked to integrate the Nexus into the Horizon systems. As they neared Xeno 7, alarms blared throughout the ship. A massive Void Horde fleet had appeared, blocking their path. "This is it," Aisha said, her voice calm despite the danger. Activate the Nexus. The pulsing orb of energy came to life, sending waves of power through the ship. Suddenly, Aisha could feel every system, every weapon as if they were extensions of her own body. More than that, she could sense the other ships in the Union fleet, their captains' minds linking with hers. In that moment, humanity's greatest strengths, adaptability, creativity, and unwavering determination, flowed through the Nexus, connecting the entire fleet. The Void Horde attacked, their ships a terrifying swarm of darkness. But this time, the Union was ready. Moving with unprecedented coordination, the fleet danced through space, evading attacks and striking back with pinpoint accuracy. On Xeno 7, the assembled delegates watched in awe as the battle unfolded. Sarah Chen stood among them, her heart racing as she saw her people leading the charge against humanity's greatest threat. As the tide of battle turned, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The species once mocked as cowards were now the vanguard of the galaxy's defense. Whatever the outcome, the universe would never be the same. The final confrontation was about to begin, and humanity stood ready to face its destiny among the stars. The battle raged across the star-studded void, a dazzling display of light and destruction. Captain Aisha Kazemi, her mind linked with the entire Union fleet through the Nexus, directed the fight with unparalleled precision. The EF's horizon danced through the chaos, its weapons blazing. But even as the Union forces pushed back the Void Horde, Aisha sensed something was wrong. "There's a pattern here," she muttered, her eyes scanning the tactical displays. "They're not just attacking. They're hurting us." Suddenly, a massive shape emerged from the darkness of space. It dwarfed even the mothership they had faced before, its surface a writhing mass of tentacles and pulsing energy. This was the true heart of the Void Horde. "By the stars," Lieutenant Ravi gasped. "It's their Omega ship." On Xeno 7, the assembled delegates watched in horror as the monstrous vessel appeared on their screens. Ambassador Sarah Chen felt her heart sink. Had they come so far only to face an even greater threat? Gronks, the Varaxian warrior, turned to her. "Your people's courage has brought us this far, human," he said, his voice gruff but respectful. "What do we do now?" Sarah's mind raced. Then an idea struck her. "The exiles," she said. "They might know something about this Omega ship. We need to talk to them. Now." Back on the horizon, Aisha received the urgent transmission from Xeno 7. She ordered the exile leader, Zix, to be brought to the bridge. Zix's bioluminescent patterns flickered rapidly as it observed the battle. "The Omega ship," it said, its voice filled with awe and fear. "We never thought they would unleash it." "What is it?" Aisha demanded. "How do we stop it?" Zix's glow dimmed. "It is the collective consciousness of the Void Horde. All their minds joined as one. It's unstoppable." Aisha felt a chill run down her spine. But then she looked at the Nexus, still pulsing with energy. An idea began to form. "Maybe not unstoppable," she said, "but it'll take everything we've got." She opened a channel to all Union ships and to Xeno 7. "Listen up, everyone. We have one shot at this. We're going to use the Nexus to link not just our fleet, but every mind in the Union. We'll create our own collective consciousness to match theirs." There was a moment of stunned silence. Then voices began to chime in from across the fleet, and even from Xeno 7. "It's insane," Gronks growled, "but it just might work." "The Luminae stand with you," Xantol's melodious voice added. One by one, the species of the Union pledged their support. Sarah felt a surge of pride as she watched the galaxy unite under humanity's banner. On Earth, Dr. Elena Rodriguez worked frantically to expand the Nexus's capabilities. "It was never designed for this," she told General Zhang. "The strain could tear it apart." Zhang's face was grim. "We have no choice, Doctor. It's all or nothing now." As the Omega ship advanced, tearing through the Union's defenses, Aisha gave the order. "Activate the Nexus. Full power." The pulsing orb of energy flared with blinding light. Aisha gasped as she felt not just her crew, not just the fleet, but billions of minds across the galaxy flowing into her consciousness. It was overwhelming, terrifying, and awe-inspiring all at once. Through the Nexus, she could sense the fear, the determination, the hope of countless beings. Humans, Varaxians, Slicks, Lumini, and dozens of other species, all joining together in a symphony of thought and will. The Omega ship hesitated, sensing the change in its opponents. For the first time, the Void Horde felt something new: uncertainty. Aisha gritted her teeth, focusing all the combined will of the Union into a single purpose. "Now," she shouted. "Everyone, strike as one." Every ship in the Union fleet fired simultaneously, their weapons enhanced by the power of the Nexus. The exiles added their knowledge, pinpointing the Omega ship's weaknesses. Beams of energy lanced out, all converging on a single point. The Omega ship shuddered under the assault. Cracks appeared in its hull, spreading like spiderwebs across its vast surface. But it wasn't enough. The monstrous vessel began to repair itself, its power still too great to overcome. Aisha felt despair creeping in, not just her own but that of the entire Union. Then, through the Nexus, she sensed a new presence, the Void Horde itself, its collective mind touching theirs. In that moment of contact, Aisha understood. The final battle wouldn't be fought with ships and weapons. It would be a battle of wills, of minds, of the very essence of what it meant to be alive. As the physical battle raged on in space, Aisha steeled herself for the true confrontation. The fate of the galaxy would be decided not in the void of space, but in the infinite realm of consciousness. The ultimate test of humanity and its allies was about to begin. In the vast emptiness of space, time seemed to stand still. The Union fleet and the Void Horde's Omega ship hung motionless, locked in a battle that transcended the physical realm. Through the Nexus, billions of minds across the galaxy were joined as one, their collective consciousness facing off against the dark hive mind of the Void Horde. At the center of this mental maelstrom stood Captain Aisha Kazemi. Her physical body remained on the bridge of the EFSA horizon, but her mind soared through an infinite landscape of thought and emotion. Around her, she sensed the presence of countless others, humans, aliens, and even the exiles, all united in this final stand. The Void Horde's consciousness loomed before them, a vast, churning darkness that threatened to engulf everything in its path. Aisha felt fear ripple through the collective mind of the Union. "Stand firm," she called out, her thoughts echoing across the mental plane. "We are not alone. We are not weak. We are united." From somewhere in the vastness, she felt a surge of support. It was Ambassador Sarah Chen, her diplomatic skills now turned to rallying the spirits of a galaxy. "Remember why we fight." Sarah's thoughts rang out. "For our homes, for our future, for life itself." The Union's collective will solidified, pushing back against the encroaching darkness. But the Void Horde was strong, its single-minded purpose giving it tremendous power. As the two forces clashed, Aisha began to understand the true nature of their enemy. The Void Horde wasn't evil, not in the way they had imagined. It was simply empty, a hunger that could never be satisfied, a loneliness that drove it to consume everything in its path. In that moment of understanding, Aisha had an epiphany. They couldn't defeat the Void Horde with force alone. They needed to show it another way. "Everyone," she called out, "don't just fight. Share. Share your hopes, your dreams, your love for life." Across the Union, minds opened up. A tidal wave of emotion and experience flowed through the Nexus. Gronk shared the fierce joy of Varaxian battle songs. Zilax offered the serene beauty of slick underwater cities. Santol contributed the cosmic wisdom of the Lumini. And humans shared everything. Their art, their music, their boundless creativity, and their relentless hope. All of it crashed against the Void Horde's consciousness. At first, the darkness seemed to absorb it all, unaffected. But then, something changed. A flicker of light appeared in the void, then another and another. The exiles' minds surged forward. We remember. Their thoughts echoed. We were once part of this, but we chose another path. And so can they. Slowly, painfully, the Void Horde's consciousness began to transform. The hunger was still there, but now it was a hunger for life, for experience, for connection. On the bridge of the horizon, Aisha gasped as she felt the change ripple through the Nexus. "It's working," she shouted. "Keep going." The Omega ship shuddered, its physical form struggling to contain the rapidly evolving consciousness within. Cracks appeared across its surface, glowing with inner light. Across the galaxy, on ships and planets and space stations, billions of beings watched in awe as the monstrous vessel began to break apart. But instead of explosions, cascades of radiant energy poured out, coalescing into new forms. When it was over, where the Omega ship had been, there now floated a vast, shimmering nebula of conscious energy. The Void Horde was gone, reborn into something new and wondrous. As the Union fleet looked on in stunned silence, a gentle voice echoed through the Nexus. "We understand now. We are grateful. We would learn more if you would teach us." Aisha felt tears streaming down her face as she replied, "We would be honored." Slowly, the Nexus began to power down. As the myriad minds of the Union disconnected, there was a shared sense of triumph, of joy, and of profound change. On Xeno 7, the assembly hall erupted in cheers. Species that had been bitter enemies now embraced, united by their shared victory. At the center of it all stood Sarah Chen, a tired but victorious smile on her face. Gronks approached her, dropping to one knee in a gesture of deep respect. "You were right, human," he said. "Your people are not cowards. You are the bravest warriors I have ever known." Sarah helped him to his feet. "We're not warriors, Gronks," she said softly. "We're explorers, dreamers, creators. And now, thanks to all of us working together, we have a whole new universe to discover." As news of the victory spread across the galaxy, a new era dawned. The species once mocked as cowards had led the charge not just to victory, but to transformation. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as teachers, friends, and inspiration to all. The adventure was just beginning.